What up, what up, what up? Welcome back, guys, welcome back. It's another video by my star. So, let's do the good old check and let's check our audio and see if our audio is doing alright and if everything's connected properly in our live. It's another video by my star. Alright, perfect, perfect, perfect. Now we can continue that song. But to see you, I need a telescope. I can stop. Looking at you like a chandelier. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Looking at you like a chandelier. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Damn. Oh no. Sorry about that, guys. Don't mind me. Okay, guys. I hope you guys can hear me. Hi, it's Brad. Hi, Brad. What up, what up? Sorry, the chat is so small. I had to really look. I want to get this program that brings up your little comments on the side, so I can see it on the side screen, and it'll be like a lot clearer. But for now, just make do with what we got. You know, over time we'll get the little funny knickknacks and all that kind of shit. But yeah, that was Chandelier by Dolo, by the Archangel Uriel. Yes, you heard correctly. The Archangel Uriel. In the flesh. In the flesh. I mean, you know, a lot of people argue and debate and say that that is not the case. But if you know the character, if you know the expression, if you know how it is, then you know that at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So if you act out that character, if you act out that expression, then you are that. You know what I mean? Like, for example, me. I grew up all my life thinking that I was not that knowledgeable in terms of my culture. Though I found myself always drawn to learning more about my culture. The culture in question being Maori culture, right? As I grew older, I started to notice, even though I was finding myself searching, like how would people do? We always want to search, right? We feel like we need to search for love. We feel like we need to search for joy. We feel like we need to search for prosperity, right? I found myself searching and searching to learn more about Māori culture, and when I finally came to the actual what I was searching for, I realized that everything that I was searching for was all within me. And I had been acting out and being that the whole entire time, thinking that I was lacking that and thinking that I didn't have that, right? So it's also important to know if you lack something, especially when it comes to external, like if you're meeting a whole bunch of people, they don't show you the qualities that you would want to see in someone, but you're the person that can see, you're the person that's like, oh, I really like this quality. I really wish more people would like this. You know what I mean? I noticed in my life, like, let's just use an example. Like, let's say all your life you didn't experience love. You know what I mean? You didn't experience people being wise or knowledgeable, right? That's because you are that. You know what I mean? So the reason why you can't see it externally is because you're looking for something that is already in you. You know what I mean? Same way that I was looking for my own culture to learn more about being Māori and stuff like that. Till I realized all of that shit was within me. I didn't actually need to look for anything, right? It was all within me. And that's the same with everybody else in the world. Anything that you feel like you constantly need to look for, constantly need to search, or constantly needing because you can't find it in any external representation, whether that's love, whether that's happiness, that's because you are the walking embodiment of what that means. And so you'll probably find a lot of people finding that quality in you, but whereas when you try to find that quality in other people, it's usually far and few between, and you probably won't be able to find it at all a lot of the time in terms of your physical reality. And that's because that is you. You are looking for yourself, all right? So if you've been looking for something, take that however that resonates. Could be looking for anything, you know what I mean? But yeah, like same way how people say everything's a reflection. We're always reflecting our own internal space, our own internal state of being. So when you are constantly looking outside and you're like, I can't find this, I can't blah, 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 it's because like you're looking outside. You should be looking inside and then you'll be able to find it. If you can see it instantly outside, that's a different story. That's a different story. So let's pull some cards for the collective, and then I don't want to do too long because I prefer to do readings on TikTok, guys. But on YouTube, every now and then I'll pull some cards. I don't mind. But generally, what I like to do on my YouTube is I like to talk about topics pertaining to life. Topics pertaining to the things that I've learned. Topics pertaining to condemning this ugly, fucked up system that the shadow government's created for us, because fuck this whole entire system. You know what I mean? A lot of people will hear that and then they'll be like, oh, it's aggressive, somebody's getting upset, somebody's like, bitch, I'd rather be aggressive about condemning the shit out of the system than complacent in the system's constant erasure of my people and of people who think like me. That's not going to stand by me, right? Like if you're going to sit here and try to wipe out a whole country of people who are like originating from that land and that country, and then create a whole system to try and destroy, try and demean, try and dethrone, right? All of that type of shit for the original people that are there. Oh, babes, you best believe I'm going to be having something to say about it. You know what I mean? So that's why as well, you probably won't see a lot of my videos get past like 100 views or some shit like that. Whereas you'll see some people who talk about the same kind of topics as I do, but except they won't be able to go into the depth of the detail of it, and yet they'll get like thousands and thousands of views because theirs is like a more watered down version. And at the end of the day, if we're raising awareness, we're raising awareness. So I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? As long as the message is getting out. But you will rarely see people like me. Like, especially if you're originating from a certain land, you're more in tune with your own culture, you're more in tune with your own language and your own people. Oh, babes, the shadow government be hating that shit. They be hating that shit because they want everyone under that one world order, that one world concept. So they want everyone to consider themselves white, black, or brown, because then, there's no way to differentiate one brown person from another brown person, one black person from another black person, one white person from another white person. These are all just under one umbrella term, as opposed to people like, who say, I'm Māori, but not only do we say we're Māori, we have the cheek to say whatever iwi we're from. We have the cheek to say, I'm Ngāti Awa, I'm Whakatohea, I'm Tūhoi, I'm Ngāti Porou. Whatever it may be, and even Native Americans and even Aboriginal in Australia, they have the nerve to say they're Wurundjeri, they have the nerve to say they're Wiradjuri, whatever you are from Australia, in America, and they have the nerve to say they're whatever tribes they are. So the government be hating that shit because it's like, you're not going to say that you're white, and you're not going to say that you're black, you're not going to say that you're brown, you're not going to put yourself under the same umbrella that we have all these other sheep under. You know what I mean? No, babe, I'm not gonna. So So yeah, anyways, enough of my Gemini fucking tangents, guys. I'm gonna pull this next card. So first card we got for our collective, the Knight of Wands. Alright? So when it comes to the Knight of Wands, oh shit. The Knight of Wands here. This is talking about having a passion, having a goal, right? But not necessarily jumping to the occasion straight away. Whenever I see this card, it's like because the emu is sitting there, he's like anticipating, he's like getting ready to go, he's like holding on. It's like that moment when you're about to launch yourself and propel yourself to go towards a destination, to go towards a certain space, to go towards a certain thing. But you're not there yet, you know, you're just like at that, there's a lot of potential, there's a lot of energy there, you know what I mean? To push yourself, to grow, to expand, to branch out. There's a lot of that. So, our next card that we got for the collective, guys. So we have the Ten of Pentacles for the second card here. So with the Ten of Pentacles, this is talking about being secure within your own space, being secure within your environment, your relationship, your material realm, right? Okay, so when it comes to this is what I'm getting with this energy is you guys are in a lot more of a secure space to be able to jump towards your goals and your passions, to be able to carry out what you're initially trying to launch yourself towards, right? And so this is allowing you to create more comfort for yourself, have more emotional stability as well, and have a more emotional assurity. I don't know how you get the idea. I need to stop worrying about the specific word because I'm like sitting there, oh, assurity. No, who cares? You get the idea. Emotional certainty is the word that I was looking for. See, when I don't think about it and then the word just comes to me, I don't even think about it. Round and round the merry-go-round. You'll notice that about me. Sometimes I tend to go around in circles with the words that I say. But yeah, with this Ten of Pentacles, it's like developing that more comfortable space, developing that more secure space for yourself, right? But in your own time, in your own space, okay? So when it comes to as well, like other energies and other spaces, sometimes they might throw you off. Sometimes they may make you feel like you don't have that home, that comfort, that security about you. But with the Ten of Pentacles, this is all about completion. 10 is all about completion, the number of completion, all right? And also talking about adding on, because we've got the original idea, which is one, you know, whatever idea you had, which was to be secure, or to carry out your passions and your goals, carry out your vision, right? And then 0 is adding on. It's like space. It's like empty space. So you just add, it just adds on to whatever it's added to. You know what I mean? So it's just accumulating more and more. And so for you guys, you know, you guys are in that energy of being able to add on to your, like, your own original idea, your own original thought and concept of what you wanted to originally do. Shit. And I feel like for you guys, this is a long time coming for this collective. This is a long time coming. Like, this is the vision, this is the idea, this is the concept that you guys have probably been betting on for a long freaking time, okay? And so that's allowing you to finally come full circle, is what I'm saying with this. Coming full circle and realizing like it was all, everything happened in divine timing, everything happened in the right way that it was supposed to happen, even though during the time I was very confused. I was like, bitch, what the fuck is going on? Like, when the fuck is this gonna end? Like, please stop. You know what I mean? Banging your head against the wall. And now you're like, oh, I see now. I see that everything really was working out for me to actually do what I originally set out to do. But a lot of the obstacles, a lot of the things that I thought were obstacles were actually like a um pathway. So instead of seeing them like obstacles now, you see it as like the actual road that led you to where you originally wanted to go. But because we get so lost in our ego, we feel like, oh no, this is not the way that we're meant to go, because it doesn't align with how we originally saw it in our mind, or it doesn't align with how we're used to seeing it in the external, because people say, oh, you can only get successful if you do this, 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 and this. But you also see people every single day coming up with new ways that they were able to gain success that has nothing to do with all the other ways that everyone was saying that was the only way to get that. You know what I mean? So the only thing that's constant is change in life. So as soon as you get off that path and you start to think that like anything else is constant other than change, you're lost a little bit, and you're gonna start thinking, in ways that's gonna keep you more trapped and more secluded in like one mindset and one ego and one concept. And then that's not gonna allow you to be able to be free as a spirit. Whereas if you allow yourself to know the only thing that's constant is change. Even down, sorry guys, it's a bit late. Even down to negative circumstances and negative people that you may experience. Just because people may not align with you right now, it doesn't mean that that's the end all be all. They might eventually come around. You might be the one person who's actually a vessel to show them how to actually change and be a better person. And then they might actually end up aligning with you a lot more than you originally thought. But obviously it's not ideal to be putting that and betting on that as an expectation, because you're going to let yourself down as well. Check out my video on YouTube, Expectation. Oh wait, no, that's not the name. I was going to say expectation is the killer of joy. But that's something I say in a lot of my videos, to be honest. It really is though. You know what's so random as well? I just noticed this 8 and this N drawn into the bricks on the wall in here. And I've never noticed that before until now. So 8 is the number of transformation, right? I was literally just talking about it. Transformation, change is the only thing that's constant, right? And then N is talking about going within something. It's also tied, so it's tied to the feminine energy, right? So with this, you're transforming your own internal space. You're transforming your own reactions, your emotions, and everything to do with your internal, right? And then we also have the 7 of Wands here on the 3rd card. So the 7 of Wands is talking about standing your fucking ground, babes. Like standing your fucking ground. Stand on business, queen, okay? So you guys are more in that energy. And I'm pretty sure we're in Capricorn moon right now. So this makes sense too. Standing on business and staying true, sticking fat to whatever your original vision is. I was literally talking about this in the TikTok reading on TikTok Live just before as well. At the start of the TikTok reading, it was like carrying out your vision, and no matter what happens, no matter what obstacles or thoughts or feelings come into your space, to be like, you know what, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe that's not the thing that I want to carry out. Having that Capricorn energy to stand your ground is going to give you the ability to be able to, even regardless of anything that comes in your way, be like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to fucking do what I want to do, regardless of if this thought tells me, oh, you know what, it's getting late. I don't know, maybe it's not the best idea. No, if you set out to do that originally, like do it as best to your ability, even if you only do it for a little bit. But just being able to have that rapport with yourself, that relationship with yourself, to be like, yes, I originally planned to do this, and even though the plan didn't go exactly the way I wanted it to, but I still carried out that plan the best of my ability. And each time you try to do that, you'll be able to get better and better at it, and you'll be able to carry out even bigger things in life. You know what I mean? Even more broader things. Like If you saw me a year ago or not long ago, you wouldn't probably believe I'd be doing half the shit that I'm doing these days. You know what I mean? But again, change is the only thing that's constant. Going back to that transformation, transforming your deep passions and desires, transforming your own internal space. And when we transform our own internal space, our external will change as well. But sometimes, the changes can be a little bit abrupt, especially if you're deep in like a world that is forcing you out of your original or natural state of being, should I say. With the Seven of Wands, about standing your ground. External things are going to come their way and they're going to be like, no, you need to stay in this space. You need to be this way. You need to act like this, But at the end of the day, you don't need to do shit, you know what I mean? You just need to make sure that you are living your life to the fucking fullest as long as you are not harming anyone. You know what I mean? When people put expectations on you, make you feel a certain way, like you are obligated to do certain things, that's toxic. That's first red flag. That's straight up first red flag. Anytime I feel that energy from someone, like an obligation, feeling like a pressure to do something or to be a certain way when I'm around a certain person, I'm instantly inclined to go the opposite, go against that energy. So reason why I try to do that is because I feel like in my mind, for me to be even picking up on that obligation, first comes from a seed in their mind where they're feeling like they're obligated to it in some way. Or they're feeling like, even if they're not feeling like they're obligated to it, they might feel like, oh, that's just the right thing to do. You know what I mean? That's just what you should do. But at the end of the day, like I was saying, you shouldn't really do anything. You should only do things that help you to fulfill you, and obviously the greater good, things for the greater good as well. Don't be completely selfish. Like, that's a whole different story. But, you should be your main priority, and not in terms of you not sacrificing your own well-being and your own mental health for someone else's mental well-being, because they make you feel obligated, because they want you to do something, like whatever it is, At the end of the day, it's your life, and they're not going to live with your choices. You know what I mean? You're going to have to live with your choices and how you carry things out, and whether you fell victim to people's obligations and all that kind of stuff. Alright, that's fucking a lot of talking, guys. How long are we in? 22 minutes in. Alright, that's cool. I'll probably pull a couple more cards and then we will stop reading. And then if I have any other topics in my mind that I want to talk about, I'll talk about those. But I'm feeling a little bit talked out right now, honestly, damn. I think it's well, because I've done videos yesterday, the day before, and sometimes I find myself doing videos like quite far apart, especially recently. So lately though, I've been getting the energy just to do video like every single day. So that's cool. I like that, because I like posting videos every single day. Makes me I feel good when I do videos. Most of the time. Occasionally I still find those like resistant energies, But I know this originally started off with me feeling good and me loving doing this. So I'm not going to let anything stop that, even if I find myself doing sometimes, oh, you know what, I don't even know if I want to do this anymore. Sometimes I might have those doubts, and not fully like that. Like, I don't think I've had that full-on thought of I don't want to do this anymore. But more just like, oh, should I? Like I just have those, and then I'm like, bitch, yeah, the fuck I should. The fuck I should. So we've got the energy of gaining momentum. Well, so what I said at the start of the reading, that potential, that momentum, that build-up of you about to launch something. And then we have a win-win outcome as forecast as well. So it's talking about as well with these pink colors and these purple colors. Sorry, let me show one card at a time. even though it's so hard to see from all the way over there, probably. But yeah, pink colors all about passion, like creativity, indulging as well. You know what I mean? So the energy is gaining momentum. This is talking about building up. Also, pink is to do with fun, enjoyment. Indulging is also something you enjoy. So when it comes to this, talking about building up that momentum, building up that energy to be able to go towards what you enjoy, what you want to indulge in, what are your desires, what are your wants, all right? And then with the full moon in Libra, what I'm getting is this is like an energy that's like a lot more in alignment, a lot more in balance with who you are naturally as an individual. All right. So this is something that's really good for you to indulge into. This is not like those negative desires, those negative wants, that lead you to manifesting more bullshit in your life. This is more to do with like those wants and those desires that actually fulfill you, that actually help you to grow on your purpose and your path. I'm gonna need to get a glass of water after this card. Then some stagnant energy as well. So it's like the energy is gaining momentum, but there's also that stagnant side. There's also that like slowness to it as well. And I feel like this is as well due to you guys kind of anticipating or being a little bit too much in that desire of like, I want this to happen. And remember, at the end of the day, whenever you're feeling and thinking a certain way, you're pushing that out to manifest more of that. So if you're constantly pushing out that vibration and that feeling and that thought of, I want this to happen, that's going to come back. You're going to get more chances and more situations in your life that show you that you want this to happen. But if you're like, no, this is happening, I'm experiencing this is now, obviously you're going to get more examples and more chances in life for you to be like, yeah, I got this. I have this. This is mine. You know what I mean? Fuck. Real stagnant energy there. Yeah, so you guys might be really pining for it. You guys might be really wanting it, or really deeply wanting it on a deep, deep level. And there's nothing wrong with wanting something, you know what I mean? But if you're constantly in that state of being of wanting, you're pushing it further away from yourself by manifestation. And then the last card here is take time to breathe out, disseminating moon, all right? So it's talking about dissipating, taking time out to meditate, whether that's you sitting there and sitting down in that cross-legged style, or what do they call Indian style, sitting Indian style, and closing your eyes and meditating, or whether that's just you taking the time out to listen to your favorite song, to go out into nature and relax, whatever it may be, listen to the wind, listen to the rain, anything that takes you away from the thoughts and the feelings that you accumulate from the world and helps you to feel more clear, that's really what you should be doing right now in order to help you to clear the space for that thing to come in, for all your wants and your needs to actually come in. Because when you're in a more clairvoyant, clear space, you'll be able to clearly see the actions that you need to take and the obstacles that you need to overcome in order for you to get what you actually want. But if you're not in a clear space and you're constantly in that mindset of wanting, needing, desire, all of that kind of shit, then you're not going to be able to see things as clearly. And so you might do certain things for the sake of your wants and your desires, and then realize that actually that didn't actually make anything happen any faster, and it actually might have slowed you down a little bit. Versus if you were in a clairvoyant space, you'd be able to see where you're going wrong at and where you might be falling victim to your desires, and so allowing you to actually make better decisions because of it. All right, I'll be back. I'm just going to get a glass of water. So yeah, that led me to think about a certain topic that I could bring up as well. Because the shadow government loves to keep everyone in that desire state of being. And that's why you'll hear a lot of people talk about how the shadow government keeps, or this system keeps everyone in a in their lower chakras, in the lower vibrational energies, right? All of that type of stuff. And that's also due to like them keeping everyone in that state of being of desire, right? If you're in survival mode, if you're constantly having to do things based on your wants and based on your needs, right? Then you're going to spend a lot less time figuring out what your actual true wants are, or clearer ways to go about obtaining your wants and your needs, because you're just doing it for the sake of survival. You know what I mean? So you're in constant fear about, whether you're going to have a roof to a roof over your head, or whether you're going to be able to have food on the table, because they keep everyone in that state of being by default, by design, so that then nobody's going to be in more of a clear state of being to be able to break out of that shit. You know what I mean? So then people think, oh, I don't have time to meditate, or I can't meditate because I'm so stressed. But that's exactly what they want. You know what I mean? When you don't do things like that, not saying you have to sit there and close your eyes and meditate. At the end of the day, like I just said, meditation is just anything that you do, or anytime you're able to, like, completely, or not completely, anytime you're able to clear your mind, clear your thoughts and your feelings, so that you're able to be in a more clear space and you forget about the world. So you start to just be in that real relaxed, peaceful state of being. That's a form of meditation, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Some people find that in dancing. Some people find that, like, even myself. Sometimes I find myself in a state of meditation while I'm doing videos, and while I'm doing readings, or while I'm doing art. Art is a big form of meditation for some people as well, like painting, especially like stuff like art techniques that are more like, kind of, you can just kind of sit there and zone out type of stuff. So yeah, the more they can keep you out of those states of being, the more they can control a lot of people. You know what I mean? Because you're constantly looking for a way to, like, survive, basically. You know what I mean? That's why people will call it the rat race and everything like that. It's not going to be able to uphold itself as a system if people are in a clear state of being, if people are constantly meditating. People are constantly in their how do I say, their greatest version of themselves. So they try to keep everyone in a lesser version of themselves. So therefore, people aren't going to fight back. People aren't going to do much. You know what I mean? And it's really fucked up. I fucking hate it. But at the end of the day, like, this is the world that us as a collective have all worked together. And we can say, yeah, it's the shadow government, which, yeah, it is the shadow government. They're toxic as fuck. And this is the fucked up system. But as well, there's also a large collective of humanity that just allows it to happen and allows it to keep getting perpetuated, right? When there's people that could be standing up and making a difference and making a change every day, even if it's small, you know what I mean? And even if not making a change, just making effort to separate. Because at the end of the day, the way I see it, they're going to try and keep their manipulative, toxic ass system anyway. So probably the best way is to just separate from their whole fucking system in general. But obviously that takes a group of people to come together. That takes a group of people to work together. And a lot of people on this earth, especially people, like, majority of people that are heavily indoctrinated, they don't want to do that shit. You know what I mean? Because they're too afraid of what life might be like without the system. Because they're relying on it. A lot of people in this modern world are, like, lost into relying on mental crutches, relying on external things to constantly help them. And it's all right to, like, every now and then go to something external, especially if you're a woman, right? And a lot of people may hear that and be like, "What? A woman? What does that have to do with it?" As a woman, um, you guys are more connected and in tuned to like community type shit. Like as a man, a lot of the time men have to just suck it up and deal with shit on their own. And a lot of the time, even if they don't have to, they're just naturally in that state of being where they will. So this is why you gotta get a lot of the times men be the type of people to bottle shit up. You know what I mean? To not talk about their emotions. Because naturally, as a man, you shouldn't necessarily have to do that. You should actually be dealing with that on your own time, in your own space, um, generally speaking. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's okay to do that every now and then, depending on your situation, depending on your life. You know what I mean? I'm not going to diss anyone and say that there's anything wrong with that. But just from my personal experience, I found myself more naturally being in a better space when I'm dealing with my own shit, you know, when I'm dealing with my own emotions. And I find women more naturally being in a better space when they're able to have that kind of community, when they're able to have that support system. This is why you get a lot of women who will rely and vent to their girlfriend. You know what I mean? Even though they have a man, because a man is not necessarily there for that emotional support. Naturally, you'll find that more in a woman. So, anyways, I had a point on why I even brought that up. Can't even remember at the top at this point in time. But oh yeah, I was talking about how like people rely on things external for mental crutches. So yeah, people rely on shit all the time for external mental crutches, all the way down to, see, I've always been growing up. I've always been the type of person who's more about self-sufficiency and being able to do things for myself rather than having to go out and rely on people. And I always found it weird because I would go to school and I would meet other people and then I would find them being like, why would I learn blah 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 when I can just go pay someone to do blah blah blah? Like because I something I used to do in school. I used to always shape my beard up. I used to always have it like real like crisp, like around the side as much as I could. I had a crisp edge, crisp cut, crisp under the chin, crisp everything around my beard, right? And then I noticed there was other people as we got older, because I was probably like one of the first to even get a beard. But as I got older and other people started getting beards, I noticed they would have their crisp lineup too. They'd have their crisp like beard too. And then I started talking to them like, right, and then I found out none of them did it themselves. None of them knew how to do it themselves. One of them ended up like, and there's no shame for them. You do what you want to do, but I respect someone a lot more when they're able to do something for themselves, because it shows that you actually have initiative and you have like willingness to learn, and again, self-sufficiency. But yeah, none of them did it themselves. There's one guy, he said, my mum does it every time I want it. And I was like, whoa, that is wild. Your mum does your beard? Like, what the fuck? Because to me, that is not really something that I could rely on my parents for. You know what I mean? I couldn't rely on my parents for a lot of shit, but definitely not that, you know. But then I had another guy. He said he always used to go to the hairdresser. I was like, holy shit, you always go to the hairdresser? I couldn't even afford that shit like in school. I couldn't even afford the fucking going to the hairdresser to get my beard done. Haircut, yeah, okay, every now and then, but beard, no, that is crazy, babes. I don't know what the fuck kind of bank account you have, but anyways, yeah, I just found it so crazy after realizing the majority of those people in school didn't actually know how to do any of that stuff. So my point in saying that was self-sufficiency is pretty far and few between in the modern world, and a lot of, especially people who are heavily indoctrinated into Western society and don't really have a culture and don't really have their language, they're not going to be as self-sufficient. You got a lot of people who are like Maori and who are tangata whenua, like people of the land they're on. definitely you'll see a lot of those people all big on self-sufficiency, right? It's only people who are more mixed or from other cultures who are yeah, more mixed, more intermixed with a lot of other different cultures and a lot of other different religions and concepts. They're more the types who don't care too much for self-sufficiency. And as well, people who are like from the hood too, like people who are more from the hood or who have like a more impoverished, whatever the fuck they call it, background, you guys are more likely going to be in that state of being self-sufficient because you don't really have a fucking choice, huh? Sometimes you can't afford to do a lot of the shit that a lot of other people will mentally rely on for, will rely on other things externally for. Sorry, my bad. So yeah, that's how they want everyone. Like Shadow Government wants you to be in a not a self-sufficient space, a non um like independent space because they want you to depend on them. And then as soon as you depend on them, then they have the power to do whatever they want to do. So they can put you in survival mode, they can put you in like attack mode, they can put you in defensive mode, they can put you in hermit mode, whatever mode they want people to be in. As soon as you're relying on them constantly, then they can put you in that state of being unless you're strong enough to be able to just completely ignore that and feel how you want to feel, think how you want to think. But again, that ties into having more of that spiritual strength and that ability to be able to see clearly. Because how you how are you going to know to yourself, like if you're in survival mode and you're constantly in a state of desire and you're constantly like worrying about the next thing and the next thing and when's your rent due and when's this due, how are you going to find yourself like in those moments of like, oh, well, you know what? Hold on. I know I'm stressing out about my rent, but I know that my thoughts and my feelings create reality. So I know that if I just create this thought and feeling, if I just think this way and feel this way, then everything will eventually turn out right. Or whatever the heck. You know what I mean? But it's a lot difficult to do that when you're not in a clairvoyant space. You know what I mean? So this is why I always talk about the importance of meditation, of having that time to be able to clear your mind, to be able to relax your space, to be able to be in a state of peace. Because the more you do that, you're carrying that manifestation of that energy of clearness. So then next time you're in a situation where you're like, oh my gosh, my rent's due next week, I don't have this, I don't have that, then you'll be in a lot better position to be like, you know what? Everything is fine. And you'll be able to create the feeling and the thought that you want to actually experience. You know what? Like, I know my rent is due next week, but I'm gonna make fucking ends meet. I don't give a fuck how or what happens. I'm gonna carry this through and I'm gonna make this happen regardless. I know that I'm gonna make this happen. And having that strong faith, belief, and imagination, bitch, you better believe that you are gonna fucking make that shit happen. Doesn't matter what the fuck happens. Even if you're like a week late, like sometimes, let's say you're a week late, your rent was like a week late, right? That fucking week, I promise. I can't even promise. I can't make promises like that. It's not my life. That next fucking week, you might just fucking end up with your rent. And then you'll be like, bitch, even though it was a week late, I still literally carried out the vision that I originally set out to do. I still made it happen. I still made ends meet. You know what I mean? The shadow government doesn't want people thinking like that, doesn't want people feeling like that. Fuck no. Because as soon as people wake up to how powerful their thoughts and their feelings are, they'll be like, oh damn, wow, why the fuck are we sitting here letting the shadow government do all this shit? When we can literally just change our reality and make everything that we want a reality. And then boom, it's over for the shadow government after that. I swear, they wouldn't be able to do shit because everybody's really in their power and they know what is right. And at that point, the shadow government will just feel weird and guilty for going and doing the things that they do because everybody else is on a completely different way. And whenever the collective is on one way, you know all the all the other beings and all the other sheep are just going to end up following that same exact way, and then boom, anybody else who's left behind is going to have to create their own way, which requires them to be an individual, which the shadow government do not do, and they do not know how to do or have the capability to be able to act out. Otherwise, they wouldn't stop other people from being individuals, right? Because they're doing that because they're trying to self-project their lack of individuality, their lack of creativity, their lack of independence, right? They're dependent on shit. This is why they feel like they need to make other people dependent on them. Because they're dependent on other external things. They feel like they have to depend on this and that and that and that and this. Like they feel insecure, they feel weak, so they try to get everybody else lost into the same ways of being that they are in. But yeah. I think I'm going to leave it at that. How long are we in? 46 minutes. I think that's a pretty good length of video. Anyways, I will see you guys for the next video. And I hope you have a beautiful day, time, moment, wherever you are. And peace. Make sure you don't fucking let these shadow government motherfuckers keep you in those states of being. And fucking take that time to find your own inner peace. And if somebody tries to fuck up your fucking peace, you better fucking get them out of your space instantly. Even if you don't have to cut them off, let your fucking peace be peace, alright? Do not let nobody disturb that shit. Fuck that shit. So at the end of the day, if they're trying to take your peace and they're not adding on to it, then like you only have so many pieces to give, you know what I mean? It's only one piece, it's not pieces. So yeah, make sure you have the right amount of pieces and don't let anybody take those pieces from you. I'll see you guys for the next video. Bye.